Hey folks, it's your buddy Mike Messier. It's a pretty interesting hour. It's 5:27 on March 28th, 2022. So who knows when you'll be watching this, if it's in the future, if well, obviously it wouldn't be in the past. That would be impossible. But if you happen to be here live at this unusual hour for me, feel free to leave a comment and I'll read it on the air if you like. But basically, my sleep pattern's been a little bit different for me, and I actually conked out pretty early last night. But I taped the Oscars on the Magic Box there, um, and and before I could even see the tape replay, as I kind of expected, like probably most of you or most of us, that this would just be another boring award ceremony. Didn't realize it would be very 1997 Biggie and Tupac, or whatever you want to call it. But it was just an unexpected thing there. Unfortunately, a lot of these great films are being overshadowed, and I guess even my little YouTube video here by this Will Smith slap on Chris Rock. So I just gathered some intel. If you haven't seen it, it's easily enough found, and I've seen the unedited versions, which I guess were available in Spanish-speaking countries. They would actually broadcast the thing live with a audio overdub of Spanish, overdubbing, but you could still hear the English language, and you can still hear Will Smith and Chris Rock, for that matter, unedited speaking. Now, apparently, what I didn't know, and maybe Chris Rock didn't know, is that Jada Pinkett Smith, or Jada Pinkett Smith, great actress herself, is suffering from, I believe it's called aponesia, or if I'm saying that correctly, aponesia, which is a condition that causes hair loss. And I thought she looked pretty good, to be honest with you, with like basically a bald head. I thought it was just a fashion choice. Um, but people are sensitive about their hair. I mean, I get sensitive about my hair. Some people, there's a person I know in my life that likes to make comments on my hair, and I don't appreciate it. And so I can understand, especially a Hollywood actress like Jada Pinkett Smith. You know, that business, the industry of entertainment, especially for women, is so looks oriented. I can see where Jada herself would be a bit sensitive about her hair or lack thereof. But Chris Rock's joke, to me, was not really a mean spirited joke at all. First off, he says, "I love you, Jada," which I don't think he was hitting on her, obviously. I think he's just being a nice guy. And I just think he meant that as an entertainer. I don't think he actually loves her in a romantic way, like Chris said. I think Chris was making a pretty innocent reference to the movie G.I. Jane, which goes back, I think, to 1992 or 93 or 94. Demi Moore movie where Demi, basically shaved her head very close to the skull to play G.I. Jane, a woman in the military. I've never even seen that movie, but I'm familiar with the hairstyle that Demi made famous for that. So I think it's a pretty, and Will Smith has been around Hollywood. Jada's been around Hollywood. They're familiar, I'm sure, with G.I. Jane. At least I'd like to think so. It's not something that they should be unfamiliar with. I mean, it's in their wheelhouse, so to speak. Will Smith was famous. Jada was famous when that movie was out. You know what I mean? So they were kind of in their early to mid 20s when that movie came out, G.I. Jane, I guess. But I would think that they would be familiar with the reference. And as far as I know, G.I. Jane, shaved her head, the character, for on purpose. It wasn't that she was suffering from any type of condition. So my point is, I just think it was an innocent joke. Uh, Now, of course, we all know that Will Smith, or many of us know, Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith have been kind of out and about with their uh, relationships, with their marriage, the unique, I guess, sensibility they have as a married couple. Some people have had a lot of fun with that, with Will Smith memes and gifs and so forth and clips. But that's been their own choosing. I mean, they've put that stuff out there as far as their relationship goes. So they can't blame the public or comedians, Chris Rock or anybody. The Oscars, they've wanted to share their business. They've shared it, and so then it's out for public discourse and conversation. That all being said, I don't see what Chris said that was so offensive. I can see it being a little bit, how do you put it, insensitive about the hair thing, the apnesia. Probably didn't know that she had apnesia, like I didn't. But even if he did, I think it was a good-natured joke. I just have to see it that way. I don't think. I mean, Chris is, as a comedian, you have that weapon in your arsenal of you can really hurt people's feelings. You can embarrass people. You've probably seen comedians embarrass audience members. But I don't think Chris meant any harm. And even if he did mean harm, it wasn't a very hurtful thing to say, I don't think. I think, and Jada kind of sold it, interestingly. Like she kind of did a good facial expression. But if you see the actual moment, I'm sure you've watched the footage by now, Will's kind of laughing, like Will's laughing at the joke. And earlier in the evening, they made fun of Will Smith. Wanda Sykes wore a King Richard outfit, which was funny, I thought. And so it seemed like everything was going fine. But this moment of the slap, first off, Will Smith gets out of his chair, goes on stage. Some people are wondering, friends of mine at least, was this staged? Was this a working slap? Was this predetermined? I didn't quite see that. It could have been, to be honest with you. You never know with these things. If this was some type of Andy Kaufman, Jerry Lawler thing that Chris and Will worked out, there was no, this is going to sound extreme, but there was no security intervention or police intervention for this type of thing. I mean, if you really want to come down to it, folks, if this was all legitimate and on the up and up, and this was all live action stuff with no predetermination, no collusion between Will and Chris or anybody else, if this was a real situation, Chris Rock, I think, would have a case for assault charges. I think he got physically attacked in public, on stage. And I think just like a comedian who would be telling jokes, and if a comedian told a joke about an audience member and the audience member got up on stage and slapped the comedian, you could have an assault charge. And I'm not saying that Chris Rock should or shouldn't do that. I don't think he will, just because that would kind of do more harm to him than good to Chris's career. But I think Chris Rock is in a horrible position here, folks. I think, I feel mostly bad for Chris Rock and also for stand-up comedy, because in our increasingly politically correct days, stand-up comedy is like, people don't even want to, who's to say what's funny and what's not. And it seems like certain individuals, like maybe a Howard Stern or others, can say whatever the hell they want, and then the rest of us can't. And we had a president not too long ago that would say all types of crazy stuff and had a lot of support, but then other people can't say anything. So, in this scenario, I think that Chris Rock has my sympathy, because he's put in a really god-awful position. I mean, he did not, like I said, once again, I don't think he made that offensive a joke, maybe a little insensitive, given that what I know now about Jada's hair condition, which I can understand her being sensitive. I can also understand from a lesser extent the feeling from Will Smith that he has to defend his family. But, buddy, you're in Hollywood, you're in the front row, you're in an award show. I mean, it's a G.I. Jane joke. It's pretty innocent. It's softball stuff. If you're that easily triggered, Will, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, and Will said it, and oddly enough, Will had a great Oscar. I mean, it is interesting stuff, because what Will Smith quoted Denzel as saying to him was, be careful, because when you're at the highest moment, that's when the devil's going to get you the most, or that's when the devil's looking for you the most, which I do appreciate that quote. And if Denzel really said that to Will, That's great advice. It's great words of wisdom from Denzel to Will, and Will to share that is nice. But at the same time, I get a little sick and tired when people blame the devil for everything. Like, if you make a mistake, it's not the devil coming to play the boogeyman on you. It's you fucking up. So Will Smith, you slapped Chris Rock. The devil didn't slap Chris Rock. So let's not blame, religious icons or whatever you want to call it. I mean, just blaming the devil, it's like the biggest cop out, basically. And I really get sick and tired and offended, even as a Christian myself. I get offended when people use the devil as a cop out or as an excuse or a validation for their own errors in judgment and action. Okay, Will? So I'm on team Chris Rock on this one. Like I said, I do have sensitivity and I do have awareness and appreciation for Jada and her hair condition. I can totally get that. People are kind of if people are self-conscious about their looks, I understand that. I respect that. But to slap a comedian who's doing his job, and also, quite honestly, we've been around the block with this stuff. I mean, imagine if Ricky Gervais got slapped every time he said something offensive at these speeches. And I find that, Ricky Gervais, everyone gets all excited about his Oscar or his SAG award speeches and monologues, but I find them to be a bit insulting and offensive. But this was nothing compared to that, what Chris Rock said. And, of all the things to be upset about, but I don't know. I think it's a sad moment for Will Smith, to be honest with you, also because he really has made some great movies. I've enjoyed most of Will Smith's movies. You know what I mean? And even The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which I'm kind of getting a more appreciation for now, because I wasn't really watching the reruns as a kid, but I appreciate the Will Smith show, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, more now. It is a great show. I was just watching a clip the other day of Carlton and Will Smith in a scene where they're trying to get into a fraternity and they're getting a hard time. The other actor in the scene was actually a guy from the movie Showgirls. So I thought it was pretty interesting. So I respect Will Smith's body of work. Even some of his raps are okay. But I saw King Richard in the theater. I enjoyed it. So I have no problem with him winning the Oscar. In fact, I even predicted it. A friend of mine, a guy named Peter, who watches these videos, he kind of messaged me and was wondering what my take on the Oscars were. And I said, I think maybe it's Will Smith's year. He's done so many great movies where he hasn't been nominated, or he was nominated, didn't win. Ali. When was that? 10 or 12 years ago? He could have won an Oscar for that. 15 years ago. Who knows? But the point is, this was, I keep saying Chris, but this was Will Smith's night. And I feel bad that he kind of blemished it himself. He did a really nice speech at the end, and he apologized to the Academy. But I feel like, to me, and I could be wrong, but I feel like he kind of owed Chris Rock an apology in that moment, as people say, which is another term that I hate, in this moment. But I feel like he owed Chris Rock an apology. He didn't apologize to Chris Rock directly. Maybe it hadn't clicked in what happened. I don't know if there's any past history with these two guys. None that I've ever heard of. And I'm just kind of wondering how this is going to play out, to be honest with you. I guess, maybe it was predetermined because, it's like, how is this going to turn out? Is Will Smith going to be seen as the bad guy? Is it going to be, just boys being boys? Is it going to be played off like that? Like it was just a funny little thing that happened? Are people going to persecute Will? Like I said, I think Chris Rock is in a really bad situation here, because if he were to press charges, which he, by the rule of the law, he probably could, he would look like a real wimp or a real, whatever. I don't know. But I just feel like Chris Rock is in a horrible position here. I've been thinking recently, man, people love Dave Chappelle. as this social commentator and comedian. But I kind of feel like Chris Rock, half a generation ago was funnier than Dave Chappelle. I mean, Chris Rock is an icon in my book as far as stand-up comedy goes. His delivery, his pronunciations of certain words, or pronunciation, pronunciation. But the way that he pronounces words, he's got some classic bits, and he's a great comedian. So I just feel like this is kind of it's not cool. It's not good. It doesn't help. I don't know if I don't know. And like I said, it also takes some shine off of the winners of the best documentary, and I think even in Chris Rock, when he was trying to get back to business and give out that best documentary award, he was getting tongue tied. So I mean, all these Oscars, what else happened on the Oscars? Jessica Chastain had a nice speech. She won Best Actress. Nice to see Anthony Hopkins give out those nominations and that award. Jessica Chastain had a really nice speech. The Eyes of Tammy Faye, I saw that movie. I like that movie a lot. I can see her winning the Oscar. No problem with that. I did say that Jennifer Hudson, I thought, should have been nominated for Aretha Franklin's portrayal in Respect. Mostly shocking to me that she did not get nominated, Jennifer Hudson, but I think Chastain did a great job. Julie Delpy did a great movie this past year that I think I'm the only person that saw, called Zoe. Okay, she could have been nominated for Best Actress. I mean, there's tons of great projects. It's really more about the marketing from these agencies for their actors and so forth. What else? Best Picture. Coda. Okay, I'll be honest with you, folks. I'm going to have to watch the rest of Coda. I started to watch it about 3 nights ago, and I got through like half of it, and I didn't finish it. Sorry. So I will have to watch Coda to give my full reaction. From what I saw so far, it was pretty good the first 20 or 30 minutes, but it was a little... it was kind of like there wasn't much conflict yet. Maybe I didn't stick with it long enough. So I'll watch the rest of Coda to see what it's all about. And what else? Best director. It seemed, I wondered if that was a reaction to Sam Elliott's comments, or if that had nothing to do with it. Maybe I'm just putting 2 to 2 together and getting 1,000. But the actor Sam Elliott had some disparaging words for the movie, and the lady that won the award, obviously defending her craft and her directorship of this film. So I haven't seen that one either. There was, I think, Cruella won for best, I want to say best costumes. That was probably well deserved. Kenneth Branagh won an award, I think his first for screenplay of his movie, Belfast. So, Branagh is one of those people that's a great contributor, a great artist, but for whatever reason, like his movies never really appealed to me very much. I tend to go see them, and then I just don't like them, if that makes any sense. But this is it, folks. I mean, at the end of the day, Chris Rock took one for the team. He took a slap. Maybe he'll do something with this. I feel bad, like I said, mostly for Chris Rock in this situation. I actually kind of feel bad for Will Smith too, but I do feel that Will, if he had apologized to Chris in his acceptance speech, you know what I mean? But I mean, as far as Will Smith trying to play this tough guy, or trying to play this, I'm defending my family. Hey man, you and your wife there put a lot of your own personal baggage out for the world to analyze and to make fun of and to pick on. So, I mean, if you're going to play that game of, I don't want to say exploit, but to use your own personal life as a fodder for everyone else to talk about, then this is what you get. And this insult, or this perceived insult, which was really just a reference to G.I. Jane, I didn't see that as being a valid catalyst for literally getting up out of your seat after you're already laughing, getting up on the stage and slapping a gentleman who's doing his job, and taking the attention away from the award winners and the nominees, and so on and so forth. So I kind of wonder where this is going to go. But I mean, I think even Puff Daddy, I thought it'd be funny if Puff Daddy, when he went up there, he said, "Hey man, I lived through the '90s and this is some crazy shit," you know? So, and if you watch if you've seen the edited version, I guess I would morbidly encourage you, if you're still watching here, check out the unedited version. You can find it on YouTube, obviously, because Chris Rock, after he gets the slap, says, "Will Smith just slapped the shit out of me," and then from his chair, Will Smith is screaming, "Leave my wife's name out of your fucking mouth." And Chris is like, "Whoa, dude, it's a G.I. Jane joke." And then Will says, "Yeah, leave my wife's name out of your fucking mouth." And I get it, but it's like, okay, buddy, you know what I mean? You're wearing a tuxedo. Chris is wearing a tuxedo. You're all getting these red carpet treatment. You're not in the rec center, okay? You know what I mean? This is not the time or the place to be slapping people around for making a pretty harmless joke. In my opinion, I could be wrong. So, folks, if you have any comments or thoughts on this situation, feel free to leave a comment. Like I said, it's an unusual time for me. 5:49 in the morning right now, and who knows, maybe there'll be more developments on this story and so on and so forth. But until then, it's Mike Messier. Subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel. My own books, Fight or Play Basketball, now available on Amazon. A Distance from Avalon, available on Amazon. I think I might have a copy. I mean, these wonderful stories, these wonderful books, and so on and so forth. Okay, folks, and my buddy Nazar, the guy who did my cover design, he's over there in the Ukraine, you know? So, I mean, I'm telling you, I mean, that was kind of a theme of the night, was mentions of the Ukraine. I think Sean Penn threatened to blow up his Oscar if they didn't have the head guy of the Ukraine speaking. I don't know what's going to happen with that. But in any event, folks, that's Mike Messier with your Oscar report.